For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated. More often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.
Welcome to the ET Stand Podcast, the Cronulla Sharks fans podcast that lets us talking to the football, and we are live with no notice at 9:15 a.m. because, well, Franko and I decided we'd do a debrief 2.0 because last night's post-match debrief, Franko had to come offline. If you know, you know, bit of technical difficulties, but a bit of fun nonetheless. And that's why you should tune in live to the debrief after full time. Isn't that right, Franko?
I guess, yeah. I mean, I missed it, so I'm with the majority of not knowing what went on last night. So here I am. Hopefully nothing awesome was said, and hopefully I can come up with something better.
Well, the key takeout of last night's debrief and what we chatted through was the theme of, was that the prince that was promised from the performance of Nicho Hynes and the running game and what we saw? And even the confidence in the conversions, I thought was a little bit, I felt like he was back. And so I felt like, you know, even the nod to the ET stand at the end of the match, I felt that we got him back in form. So we'll go through the key moments of the match, the key talking points, all that fun stuff like we normally do. We probably won't have as many live commenters, but if you are coming in live and joining in the show and seeing us, to give us a like or a subscribe and say good day. And the debrief, of course, as always, is brought to us by our partners at Solve Accounting, the legends down there. Now, other news going on, Franko. I'm live from down in Boldo Bay. What a great, terrific place to be living. It's just so connected to the Sharks down here.
Sounds like all it needs is a leagues club.
All it does need is a leagues club. Well, certainly a leagues club just would add to actually the precinct. The precinct is missing that extra something, that licensed venue to go on top of what it's got. So certainly that would be great. Trish Betty's joining us. Morning, boys, from Trish Betty. G'day, Trish. See, maybe we should do more 9 a.m. debriefs, but maybe if we'd have lost, then we wouldn't have been so sprightly getting up this morning, would we, Franko?
I don't know. Have you seen this hair? I'm not so sure I'm sprightly. These bags under the eyes. Morning gigs, no fun, but we'll work it out.
We'll work it out. We'll get through it. And everyone listening on audio and on delay and watching us later, go the Sharkies. Come on, 24-12 victors over the Dolphins. Let's go through the key points. Let's just touch on Nicho a little bit more. I thought the running game of Nicho was really on song, and they say that it's such a commonly spoken analogy in rugby league circles, as if your halfback is running the ball early, you know they're up for a good game. Were you as confident as my feelings early, Franko? Your thoughts on Nicho running?
Yeah, look, so Nicho's been running the ball pretty consistently the last few rounds that we've played. He's really shown that intent and want to get his hands on, want to engage the line. It's been good to see. That said, the selection of his running maybe hasn't been on point, being caught on the fifth a few times, heading in the wrong direction for the rest of the team, those sorts of things. I think that was the difference in this game. His selection of when to run and where to run was a lot better than what we've seen the last few rounds, and that really made a difference. Obviously, got over the stripe twice, put himself in the right spot.
And he almost did on the third one.
Yeah, exactly. And also, he was in a position where, you know, even if he got tackled with the ball, there were options for Brayley and Trindle to do something with it. It wasn't sort of stuck in no man's land as a de facto prop one up, hit up. So it was good running, good selection, and that was the big difference between the last few weeks where he's admittedly, you know, it's a mental game, acknowledging that he needed to run the ball more. He's done that now. Now he's evolved that into not just running the ball because he's got to run the ball. He's running the ball at the right times and in the right locations. So yeah, it was big.
His partner, on the other hand, Trindle, well, he had a bit of an off night, didn't he? A couple of wayward passes. He had the one that just went straight out. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think he, if you take the errors out of the game, which is obviously always difficult to do, um, it was just a solid performance. It wasn't anything spectacular. It wasn't anything over the top, but it was just a solid complementary game, right? And it's hard to say that, you know, you don't want to say he had a bad game, because people sort of want to see what it would look like if he was playing that sort of more support role. And that's kind of what we saw tonight, right? He wasn't the dominant playmaker. He was there, he was distributing, and sure, got a couple of things wrong, but overall, it was a you know, a B plus, maybe an A minus.
A minus might be a touch generous, but I guess the Sharkies did win. The kicking game looked all right too. Wasn't spectacular. Wasn't exactly Queensland's kicking game, but I
All
thought it
grades
was.
skew up on a win.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be interested to see what score you're going to give the match later, or you're going to ask me that question. All right. Well, I think Nicho's back in form, and I think the week off certainly helped the Sharks. I thought it was quite noticeable just how fresh they looked post bye. And Ennis said it in the commentary that he thought that the Sharks would have been intense in training leading up to this match. I'm not sure if that's necessarily correct. I think a level of freshness is what's required, and they came out of the gates pretty quickly. What was your take on post bye Sharks?
I think, you know, I said on the Tuesday show that this was a crunch moment, a line in the sand. We've been talking about lethargy, and we've been talking about the travel and things getting to the team. This was the moment where, you know, not that the team was using it as an excuse, but it was certainly a talking point, right? And after this bye, this was the reset. This is the team we need to see from here through into the finals, right? So you need to lift, you need to perform, and we saw that. I thought, yeah, we looked good. You can only play with what's in front of you. I don't think the Dolphins were the Dolphins they've been all season. They were a little bit off. Obviously, they're missing a few players as well. So, you know, let's not pat ourselves on the back too much. The Dolphins were not great, and it was a close call up until 10 minutes to go. So, as I said, though, you can only play with what's in front of you, and I thought defensively we were very sound. We were really good there, committed, and it. To be fair, I know a lot of people were down on the Melbourne game. It built on that Melbourne's effort, but more importantly, we had a few errors in us last night, and we were able to defend those errors, and that's generally something that we gripe against, because being able to defend against errors or penalties has not been one of the Sharks' strong suits, and we gave them a few opportunities through our own fault, and we're able to stand tall and hold them out, which was really good.
Dealing with adversity has often been one of the Sharks' problems. They didn't let the Dolphins in until the 66th minute. We'll go through the Dolphins' tries, but first, I want to talk about pats on the back. One player in particular I thought had a terrific game. He played, 38 minutes, 12 hit-ups, 121 metres, and 53 post contact meters on stats, thanks to NRL.com. Toby Rudolf, I thought was absolutely terrific last night, Franko. And to be honest, maybe the one play that actually saved us in the entire match. The whole discussion might be different if Rudolf doesn't put pressure on Jeremy Marshall-King there. Yep. Big Toby. You take?
Yeah, he was great. He's been great for a month or so now. Since he sort of came back into the team, he has been full of energy, full of speed, and intent. So he's that play you mentioned. He just got on the field, sitting there on the sideline, watched him run on, which was probably not normally when he would have gone on. AFB came off with the, you know, succumbed to the cork. Rudolph ran on and just put himself in the right spot, the right time, commitment, effort, diving. There was a bit of disbelief that it was Toby that managed to get back there, and it was just an epic effort. to do so. And as we now know, denying that try, the Sharks turn it around, go up the other end and score ourselves. So it was one of those 12-point turnarounds, as the media likes to call it, where if he doesn't do that, you're right, we're behind on the scoreboard, and who knows what pressure does to us in that scenario.
A few people coming into the watch now, watching us live, so it's good. Pete Pissett's here. Hi, boys, going 2.0. Nice. Yeah, of course. G'day, Pete. You would have seen last night's crash tackle in the background. Hope you got a screen grab of that. And 2.0, if anything is made of last night, apart from the Prince's return, it's that the forward bench is the way to go. Better late than never. Let's talk about the forward bench. There was a little bit of confusion on the bench, though, with some of the rotations. Billy Burns was certainly not happy when he got taken off, was he, Franko?
No, he I don't know what his minutes were. Let me see if I can find that quickly. But Billy Burns, when he was brought off, 14 minutes he got.
Yeah.
He was filthy. He wanted to stay on. He was having fun out there. And we know he's an 80-minute player, so that's probably not surprising that he was dirty that he came off. But you know what? We've got a plan for that utility. Both of those words are in inverted commas. But only 14 minutes. But he ran 50 meters. Wasn't put in a lot of scenarios where he needed to make many defensive reads. Only a couple of tackles there. But
5 hit-ups, 51 meters is
five
pretty.
hit-ups, 51 meters is really good.
Is pretty good
for a little stint like that, and not to knock on Atkinson.
17 post contact.
Yep, as we said, it's a different role, but that's the difference between having someone there that just carts the ball up. It just continues that momentum, and I think that was needed for us. One of the interesting things, and not to move away from the Billy Burns discussion, but 2.0 talking about the 4 forward bench rotation and it being the way to go. Interesting comments were made that Atkinson was going to be on the bench. They were going to play him. But for those that don't know, there was a little bit of disruption with the Sharks this week. And due to that, that's why Burns got the nod in the late end there. So AFB.
You're referring to AFB or
yep.
Or Cam as well.
Yep. So AFB had his death in the family. I think it was his grandfather. So condolences there to AFB. He also had a crooked leg, Cam's infection, pulled himself out of hospital to play. So he got out of hospital, then had to go back in for more treatment, and then probably will go back and get it looked at again now. And then Nicho gave birth. So congratulations to Nicho and his missus, Mrs. Nicho. She gave birth on the game day, so he was a bit of a question mark.
Do they have a name yet?
I think they're calling it Franko.
I think they might be. I think that's right. She's just sharp, aren't you, Franko?
Yep, boy or girl, I don't know. Franko works. So
it's so good.
But yeah, so there was a bit of question mark with the three guys, all in the front in the forwards, and so that's why Billy Burns apparently got the nod, because covering for those guys there was made a bit more sense. And I think again it works. It's just a different dynamic to the team. We need to keep that momentum going, and Billy Burns was able to do that for us. So yeah, whether it was by happenstance or not, I don't think it matters. I think, as 2.0 has mentioned there, it looks better to have the 4 forwards on the bench than Atkinson.
Well, certainly also some confusion around when Burns came off, whether Teague should have come off, because he was also looked like he got a head knock and had the leg thing going on and couldn't walk for a while. And then AFB obviously had the cork. You had the stuff with Cam McInnes. So the minutes that the players went on changed around a little bit more than usual, which is why, to your point, Toby Rudolf went back on at the time that he did. But I actually think with the 4 forwards, it gave us more flexibility with rotating those guys around. And when Toby went on, I'm pretty sure he was the 7th interchange, which was 6 minutes to go. So they had some up their sleeve and was still looking pretty good. So Fitzy, I know you watch the show, big fan, regular commenter that you are. I think 4 forwards, I think that's the way he's got to be thinking we go from now on, Franko. Or does he keep naming Atkinson in the 14 jersey just because he doesn't want the headlines of Sharks Dom Atkinson? And it's a little bit less emotional toll to switch him out. What do you think he'll do? Just keep moving the numbers around?
We've been down this path a few times now where we think the penny has dropped and we're going to get 4 forwards on the bench, but we know Fitzy likes to stick to his guns, and we know he's a man of his word. And there's the theory out there that he's given Atco that you're going to get on the bench and you're going to be getting minutes for us and you're important to the team. And so if he's said that, maybe that's why he's sticking to it. But I do think there's going to be a time where we have to consider that the 4 forwards is the way to go. I don't think it's a tactical decision to name Atkinson and then last minute swap it out for Burns or whoever.
I just think it's a jersey size thing, Franko.
Yeah,
he fits into size 14, and so therefore they don't want to change the jersey. I just think it could be as simple as that. And sometimes it works for Atkinson to play, and then others it doesn't.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
I still wish that they had a bit more of a niftiness. So I wish teams were sitting there going, "Oh, well, we had to prepare for the scenario, as you would say, of Atkinson being on the bench. And what does that mean? It offers a different dynamic. If there was a bit of pestiness to it, then that would be a better outcome for the Sharkies, I think. Let's talk through the Dolphins' tries, Franko, that got them back in it before we'll come back onto the Sharkies stuff, because I do want to touch on that. The first try, I thought, where are my notes here? There was a little bit of lazy work from AFB getting back, and he was called off so he was offside at marker, and so he had to let the guy go. And so sometimes do you just have to make that tackle and cop the penalty when the break's on, Franko? What do you think there of his decision?
Yeah, I agree. I'm sort of the opinion that you cop the penalty, make the tackle, it's better than letting a try through. But in AFB's defence, where he was on the field and who was around him, as in Sharks players, he had to have imagined that we were going to
deal with it,
mark up and deal with it, and not let it go to where it ended up. So yeah, we're not talking 20 meters out where we were in the middle of the field. Plenty of covered defenders fell off, and that shouldn't have happened. So yeah, can't blame AFB for putting his hands up since he was called off. You can maybe say, mate, get on side a bit quicker, but
Yeah, but he was a little bit injured, and so sometimes
Exactly.
the margins with that, if he's not injured, he's half a metre in a different position, which is basically enough. So I think AFB might be the first to admit probably wasn't his strongest game in Shark colours, but we can cut him some slack. I don't think he'll be falling down Boldo's tears come the 1st of August because of tonight's match. AFB. Now the kick from the Dolphins was also very fortunate. It was perfectly placed, and then he got the good bounce, and then also got the good bounce for how it was like he was catching the ball, and then he's like the momentum of the way that he caught the ball actually stumbled and actually made him go faster towards the try line. So you could say that it was particularly fortunate for the Dolphins. Was that just a lucky try, Franko, or was that a warning sign that the Sharks were not quite as good as we thought? Good attacking team, the Dolphins.
Look, I think that was a shank, if I'm honest, that kick. I don't know. Haven't seen it on TV yet if commentators are lauding.
Nah, that's the way he was kicking it. Come on.
Yeah, no, it was an absolute shank. He was looking for a bit more towards the corner. It came off the side of the boot. All worked well. But I think there was a lot of luck in that try, and some poor defence from us. Yeah. Look, like I said, the Dolphins were weakened through injuries.
That helped. I think it might be a dip. I think
Yeah.
if Hammer plays, I'm not sure that we win.
Yeah.
But if the Dolphins had gotten away with that, I think they would have considered themselves very lucky. The Sharks would have been one of those, the better team lost if the Dolphins had got it. Now, the second
was
Dolphins
definitely the better
try,
team.
the second Dolphins try, Nicho just had this weird sliding thing like he was in the Matrix. I don't know what was going on there. He just kind of fell over.
Yeah,
I don't blame. Had a bit of a slip in the dew. Happens. And then poor old Will Kennedy. He's just never good in the one-on-one defence, is he? It's been one of my frustrations with him. Couldn't make the tackle there, and then Ramian did this weird jump over thing, and then Farnworth somehow gets the ball back. Goodness me. What'd you make of the second Dolphins try, Franko?
So I guess that an interesting call out there is in this scenario, we had Kafusi called out for being offside. So in both tries, we had a prop in the right spot, or right-ish spot, pull out of a tackle because they were called offside, which created a bit of a gap for the attack to run through. Again, considering where it was, you don't want to give away the penalty there, and considering who was around you, you'd assume that someone would have stopped that try. But come on, that was a forward pass back to Herbie before he scores, wasn't it? Surely.
Oh, that was big last night on the debrief 1.0 was the forward pass. I didn't think that was that bad. Some people were saying it was 3 meters forward. The Discord was blowing up a little. Yeah.
Oh, it had to be forward from where I was sitting. It looked forward. They were in line at best, and Harvey was reaching forward to catch the ball and bring it in. So, look, I'll rewatch it, but I reckon that was a forward pass. Herbie's a good player. He's always a danger man, and that showed what he's capable of. And yeah, you're right. It was a shame. Again, we had a few players drop off, not to single out Kennedy, but he was right there. Should have wrapped him up and should have brought him down there, and that would have been the end of it.
2.0's through in the comments saying Channel 9 said it wasn't forward. However, Ennis on Fox said it was a metre forward. So, yeah,
Ennis is biased, right?
Yeah, well, I think Ennis is still a little biased for us, isn't he, Franko?
I hope so.
Oh, let's just take a slight pause, a deviation to just chat about the commentary. One of my mates last night who was over was talking me through the lengths that he goes to not to have to watch the Channel 9 commentary and then actually have either the Triple M or like some alternate commentary. Your take on, and you and I disagreed on State of Origin commentary. You thought it was very one-sided towards Queensland, whereas I actually thought the commentators were okay. I thought the Channel 9 commentary was pretty good. What's your current take on the status of the Channel 9 versus Fox commentary, Franko?
Channel 9's terrible. It's absolutely awful. It's rubbish. Look, they do have a couple of good guys that know the game very well. But overall, the whole production and suffering through the team, it's awful. It's no good at all. I historically, I generally like to watch both to try and get everything that was said about the Sharkies. This year I haven't really been able to do that, and I have actually missed some of the commentators from Channel 9, but ultimately if I'm only going to get to watch the game once, I'm watching it on Fox, and I'm skipping the 9 commentary.
So who's your dream team commentary on a Sharks match then? Who would you pick? Who would you want?
Well, that might be giving away trade secrets if we were going to rank some commentators in an episode later on. But yeah, I'm always fond of someone that's maybe not as prevalent as other commentators. I think Matty Russell's probably the best. I really enjoy his commentary. It's always insightful. He follows the game well, but doesn't try to call the game, doesn't try to ref the game. Which a lot of commentators sort of fall into that trap of trying to ref the game or create scandal. And I
or be the news themselves.
Yeah, I prefer the commentators that hold off of that and just tell you what's happening in front and value add instead of trying to tear something down or make something out of nothing. So yeah, Matty Russell's probably my number one. So he's my primary caller. And I did just say that Channel 9 was terrible, but Fox has gone backwards in one thing, and we're way off topic now, but Fox has historically they had three commentators in the box. And I think it was since COVID they dropped down to 2, and they've not really gone back to the 3. Every now and then there's a random third pops up. I do think they should go back to having three callers in the box, so 1 caller and 2 flavor commentators. I think it adds quite a bit.
So why'd you choose Russell and Ennis and Cronk? Well, Sean Johnson's good. Ennis and Sean Johnson would be good.
No, Sean Johnson, no.
I really like Sean Johnson.
He's fun for a bit here and there, but no, he still hasn't quite got it yet. He's still leaning too heavily on personal anecdotes instead of.
Yeah, but his anecdotes are so Sharks related, so therefore
that's true. But that's also why you're enjoying him. But that's also why maybe a third person is better, because he can throw in those anecdotes on the side as.
Correct. He is the third person. Him as the second. It's a lot of lifting for him to do. So.
Yep. So, but yeah.
Well, we'll put a pin in that. Let's come back to that comment. We'll do a whole episode on that in the off season, Franko. We've been talking about that for yonks.
Perfect.
I do want to get your take. You and I had another disagreement last night. Probably the most limp, weakest disagreement in terms of passion, I think, on the decision to take the 2 points. What the Sharks went from 6 to 8. Certainly the 2 points came in handy later, Franko.
Well, we missed a conversion, so it kept us there at 12. But yeah, I think in those scenarios, maybe except for the first one, obviously taking the 2 is the right call. Definitely
except
was good.
For the first one, to go from 6 to 8?
Yeah, I would have. From the position we were on the field, the amount of possession we had, I thought it might have been good to try and keep going. All other scenarios, definitely the 2 was the right call. That said,
there's a very strong ET stand, the actual stand supporting the decision to take the 2.
There was a loud, raucous call from the grandstand to take the 2, and a cheer when it was eventually called. I must admit, you talked about the return of the Prince. We weren't that slick in attack, right? We had a lot of ball and a lot of good position, and we really didn't light up the scoreboard. First half it was 6-0, and then it wasn't until the last 8 minutes before we dropped 2 more tries. So yeah, we weren't looking that good and utilizing the ball as well as we could have. So maybe the 2 was the right call for all scenarios. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen them try and do something with the ball in that first occasion, but the others definitely take the 2.
Yeah, it was. So having watched the match back, the first half was an arm wrestle, 6-0 at half time. I thought the third try the Sharks scored, the way that they built up and applied the pressure and the way Nicho moved the Dolphins defence around and then ultimately led it to the point where he could open up for him to score his second try. I thought that was pretty well done, Franko.
Yeah, it was great.
I thought that was good work.
Yeah, more of it, please. So I just think there was a few occasions there where we looked a bit clunky. People missing their mark, and maybe trying to. This is going to sound odd coming from me, but trying to overcomplicate things a little bit. We've got Talakai, which whether you like him as a center or not, it is irrelevant because he's got some of the softest hands in the game and knows when to pass and always has pretty good pass selection. And we were either cutting him out or going behind him or whatnot and not giving him the nice early ball to just work his magic. I think there were a few opportunities there where we had a heap of space and it was sort of almost a 3-on-2 and we just didn't give him the ball. I think that was a bit
was the one where
trying to
Brent
hit it.
Trindle threw it over the top and cut him out
Well, yeah, there
completely.
was that as well. But we're just sort of getting in our own heads, I think, there at one stage, which, you know, if Fitzy's to be to believed, I don't think there's anyone else that can say otherwise. They've sort of put their attacking structures away and really focused hard on defense over the last month. So, so this is probably a byproduct of that. And you know what? If you get 24 points and keep the other team scoring low because you're better defense, well, then that wins games as well, right? So can't complain.
Back four, excluding the fullback, because we've touched on Will. Numbers 2, 3, 4, 5. An indifferent night for the outside backs, wasn't it? Who was your standout amongst 2, 3, 4, 5?
Oh, it was Will. He was terrible in defense, or not great in defense, but he was everywhere, and he had a good running game. He was good under the high ball, a couple of slips, but Will was really good. I think that Mulatalo looked a bit ginger. I don't know if he was injured or just gassed. He sort of looked in and out of the game. Katoa really good. And Ramian, although he scored the try, he's got a long way to go before I start singing his praises. Had a good game though, to be fair.
Is Ramian you're now most maligned to the Sharks, Franko?
Well, no, that's hard to say when Atkinson's still getting picked pretty regularly, but
yeah, but that's Atkinson's not the one you malign though. It's more the coach, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think Ramian's probably the guy that needs to stand up the most for me. He's had a bit of a rough trot of it this season, but you know he's got to find his groove, and his old mate Katoa next to him. Maybe that's going to help him slowly but surely.
2.0 in the comments correctly calls out that Blake Brayley's starting to turn into one of the best nines in the comp. His running game is lead. I thought Brayley was pretty good last night in the running game. And watching that State of Origin match, I do think New South Wales would have benefited from Blake Brayley in that team. Nicho obviously had a great match last night, and Toby was good.
Yeah.
Brayley, he can't have been too far off man of the match honours. You?
Oh, he probably gets my man of the match honours, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Brayley. I think Brayley was best on ground. Obviously, we laid a pretty good platform for him to work off the back of, but over 100 meters running meters for him, he did really well. He spoke about how he's been trying to run more lately, finally, and that it is something that is now considered part of his game. I think that that's probably not far wrong if you look at the last almost 2 months of footy, right? He's been running more and more and getting better at it, and we just need people to follow him now and take advantage of those opportunities. But also, we've now had from Brayley 2 kicks in a row. So kick last match and a kick this match. So he's got the running game down pat. Now Brayley's going to get the kicking game in. Let's do it, Brayley. 1 kick per match.
He had a repeat set, didn't he?
He did get a repeat set, I think.
He had a repeat set, and then they blew it on the damn catch off the
little grubber.
Now, speaking of catches and running and disruptors and all this sort of stuff, Franko and I discussed the rules at length on the Discord channel. And if you want to get involved in the Discord channel, the link is in the description of the show. Franko's put a pretty out there rule change. Franko, I'll let you tell everyone, and then I'll give you my reaction. I'm sure you remember which rule change I'm suggesting. You suggest so many.
Obviously, we've all. This isn't groundbreaking at all, and I think everyone is on the same page as this one because it's a new rule that should never have been a rule. Is the disruptor should not exist. There should not be a disruptor rule at all. You should be able to wave your hands in the air like you just don't care, and if they drop the ball, then that's their fault for not being as good at a tackler, a catcher. Sorry. Obviously, there's scenarios of if you actually connect with the catcher, you can't just run them off the ball. But if you're put them off their game, then they should get better. The other one, which is probably what you're referring to, is a little bit more controversial, is block plays or running more officially running people off the ball on a high kick. I think you should be able to change your line. Probably needs to be some kind of thought put into it, as in you can only change your line once, so you can't drop a shoulder into someone or whatever. But you should be able to sort of look for where the kick's coming, create a proper block, and that way, because I mean the NRL has historically and verbally mentioned that they're struggling with kicks. They don't like high kicks, bombs as much because they don't think it's a rewarding play. It's more of a lottery of a 50-50, and maybe you don't allow kicks in certain positions of the field or certain types of kicks and all these weird and wacky things. But if they just make it so that you can try and create a wall or a block for the oncoming attackers, then that almost creates a mini game in itself, right? You get people who are better at creating blocks. You get people that are better at swerving around defenders to still put them in a position to catch the ball, and that becomes an exciting skill set that fans can watch
you get set
analyze
moves.
over.
You get set moves and people moving in set directions.
Correct.
And so one of my frustrations with the rule book is that if there's so many things that are open to interpretation, and so to your point, if you just make it all legal, then actually it will become easy to police, because if you can just run, obviously you can't grab people if they don't have the ball, but if you are allowed to essentially block them, then it makes the kick tries more difficult to get, which would make them more impressive and actually discourage people from just lobbing it up for Xavier Coates to score over the top of Daniel Atkinson. So I can understand the rationale. I don't mind it, Franco. The problem with rugby league rules is, as Phil Gould always says, you insert a new rule or change a rule and rugby league coaches will find a way to manipulate that rule. So there will be some unforeseen manipulation that you and I haven't thought of yet. So
absolutely,
we'll keep noodling on that one. And if you've got any suggestions on how we should change the rules from the kicks perspective, and then certainly get that in the comments. One player I want to touch on before we get your man of the match. Rudolf was good. Ueli, maybe not as good, Franco.
Yeah, I feel for Ueli because he started good. He started out strong, started well. And I think if he didn't have those two errors back to back in key moments of the game, we're probably not singling him out as having a bad game.
Well, it's taken us 38 minutes to get to Ueli, though, Franco. It's not like we're leaving the show with Ueli sucks.
No, we're certainly
he's
not.
Popular. He's popular, Ueli, and so I think that's why he gets a little bit of attention, because I really like Ueli, with back to the days of the rock try and all that sort of stuff. Like, you want him to be successful, and I just think him being in good form and performing for the Sharks, he's such an important player for us. And so if he's got errors in him, then it's a bit annoying and shattering and heartbreaking and all of those different words that we
on his day
associate with the Sharkies.
On his day, he's a bit more of an X factor prop than a meter eater, and so I think you need to sort of consider that different style of play from him. You're not going to look at the stats and go, oh, he churned out 150 meters. Another typical game from Hamlin Ueli. You got to look at him a little bit differently. Unfortunately, he just hasn't had that same impact the way he has in his prime. That said, I thought he was again full of energy. You spoke about the guys being fresh and starting strong. I thought he did that as well. But yeah, as the game went on, and he wasn't on the field for very long, really. I think he was only on there for like 20 odd minutes. So yeah, it was a bit of a mixed bag.
25.
Yeah, 25. So
25, 36 for Kaufusi, 46 for McInnes, 45 for Fanua Blake, 29 for Colhoun, 14 for Billy Burns.
Yeah,
you'd have to argue that's probably about right. Fanua Blake did fewer minutes this week than you might normally expect. expect him to. So he just looked better with 4 forwards off the bench, don't they? Rudolf was good, 44 minutes. That's more minutes than he's typically got.
Yep.
So
Colhoun was the direct replacement for AFB. We don't see that too often. He sort of gets shuffled around a little bit. At this stage, he was just a straight up prop. And he did all
they
right.
had Ueli and Rudolf and AFB on at the same time. There's the first 2 interchanges were Rudolf and Ueli for Kafusi and Cam. And so, geez, we had a really big team for that kind of end of the first half, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look at I thought that that was not the rotation, but you know what? I was
No,
at
it
the
was.
game
It definitely
and I
was.
missed it.
It
Okay, all right.
was.
So then
Because I was paying attention.
if that was what it was, then that was pretty good effort. And we were looking strong there, keeping them out. Like I said, we did a fair bit of defense towards the back end of that first half, and we did well. I also think that it'd be remiss of us not to mention Wilton. His defense on Katoa was, we as a team collectively defended Katoa really well, but I think a lot of that responsibility fell on Wilton's shoulders of when to shoot out, when to wrap up the ball, and he really limited the options of Katoa. Katoa, they talk about how he likes to go close to the line, show the ball, do a few dummies, a few little trick plays. Wilton just didn't give him a chance to do any of that. He just went out and flattened him every opportunity. I think he got put on report for one of the hits, which was a nothing, fine at best. Probably should have just been a penalty. But yeah, Wilton was really good on Katoa, and I think that was a big contributing factor to the end result of the game. So Wilton did well there.
Now, last one, before we get your 3-2-1s, we forgot to mention, or maybe it's in my notes, the Will Kennedy break where he goes through and he actually successfully sets up Britton Nikora. He's running through and then motions to come in behind, and Nikora works out where he needs to go, and then he doesn't pass it to Nikora. What's going on there? What was he doing, Franko? Why? He basically set the try up. It was brilliant.
There is always that element of cost of the coin, right? Is the defender going to go for the intercept, or is he going to take the man with the ball? And I guess in that scenario, Kennedy felt that he was going to go for the intercept because he certainly telegraphed that I'm going to give it to you, Nikora.
He did telegraph it, didn't he?
And the defender didn't fall for it, and so he got hit hard and wasn't in a position where he could pass over the top of the defender, so went down with the ball, which was a real shame, because I reckon he gets that ball away if Nikora doesn't score. I think he had Katoa outside him or someone.
Nikora's scoring there, Franko.
It was certainly it was I mean, that was a botched try in multiple senses, right? Because not only did we not score there, we then dropped the ball on the try line through Hynes, with a whole bunch of players out wide, and Dolphins stripped for numbers. So we should have scored there at some stage in that set and just didn't.
Yeah, we should have. All right, Trish Beatty's got her 3-2-1 in. She says Toby gets the 3 for her, Blake for the 2, Nicho for the 1. But overall, it was a much improved team. Bring on the Chooks, which is 6 p.m. next Friday night. Franko, who gets you 1, 2, 3?
I think I'm going with 1 point for. I might get some backlash for this. No, I'll swap it around so I'm safe. 1 point for Rudolf. He was full of energy, ran hard, hit hard, defended well, and obviously put himself there for that potential try saver. 2 points for Hynes. Ran the game well, scored 2 tries, kicked well, goals, good assist with Katoa there in the dying minutes. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, my 3 points goes to Brayley.
Of course they do. Now, I'm just going to tell you, you're wrong, because Brayley was the 1 point this week. So my 1 point goes to Brayley. My 2 points goes to Nicho. He was great in the running game. But Toby Rudolf saved us, and he played more minutes than we normally expect to get from him. That effort play at the end, that absolutely saved our bacon. So for that one action, again, my points, Toby Rudolf. And then, Franko, am I answering the Franko question, or would you like me to ask?
What do you give that game? What do you give that game out of 10?
I thoroughly enjoyed that game. I thought the Sharks fans were in good form down at Shark Park. It was a nice crowd of almost 10,000 on a Friday night, which for the Sharkies is actually typically pretty difficult to do. We're going to see the difference next week between a 6 p.m. and an 8 p.m. match. I thought Shark Park was in good form. The ET stand was in good form. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. I thought it was a little bit close, maybe a little bit too close for comfort, but yeah, I felt comfortable for the Sharks win. I wasn't announcing that I thought the Sharks wouldn't lose, because I still think we can probably lose the 2016 Premiership because we find ways to lose stuff. So overall, I'll say 8.5 out of 10. I enjoyed that one. That was good.
Yeah, I think this was probably the since we started giving scores to games, this is probably going to rate the highest out of all of them. There were some ebbs and flows, but we were sort of in control throughout the whole match, so it wasn't complete pull your hair out. The people around me really sort of got into that game a bit more than what we have seen in the last few home games.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really exciting, really engaging with the fans as well. So yeah, I'm going to go with an 8.5 as well. That sounds good. If we could do half points, I'll get in on that bandwagon.
Yeah, have we done half points before?
Well, CK seems to drop a half point in every now and then. I don't know how I feel about it, but if you're doing it now, then I think I'm overruled, and makes it easier, doesn't it?
So why don't we just not make it a score out of 20 then?
Mate, I don't know. You guys are breaking the rules by throwing half points.
Half points, and you're giving it a score of 17.25. Ridiculous, wouldn't it?
Out of 100.
All right,
What do we give it?
Who knows? All right, that was the debrief 2.0. So thanks everyone for joining us this morning. I have a feeling we will get a whole bunch of viewers later. So do get your comments in on your answers to those questions. Who was your man of the match? What did you give the match a score out of 10? Did you enjoy the match? Overall, is Nicho back, the prince that was promised? How important is Toby Rudolf and him being in good form? And Will Kennedy, rocks or diamonds? What are we getting right now? Thanks to Solve Accounting for being our partner and supporter on the debrief. You guys are absolute legends. So as we post-tax time, if you need some accounting help, do call Phil and Blocks and the guys at Solve Accounting. Franko and I will be live on the on the ET stand Tuesday night, won't we, Franko?
We sure will, yep. Flagship show or whatever we're calling it.
Yeah, the flagship show, yep. I don't think that's our term, flagship.
No, that's not our term. Is that the other one?
I think that's someone else's term. But we like the person who's got that term. You're definitely the best. Let's just say the the third most handsome man in all of Cronulla Sharks podcasting. Franko, is that what we'll say?
Sure.
Something like that. So never mind. All right, for me, Boldo, and for Franko, we will see you guys Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. We will also be live after full time, I guess, for the debrief next week after the Sharkies beat the Roosters. Sharks back in the top 8. 24 points to 12 over the Dolphins. Up, Cronulla. Let's go, baby.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated. More often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.